On September 29, 2019, Deputy James and Deputy Zhang from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee, a potentially dangerous engagement unfolded due to their reckless actions. The incident began when the officers responded to a call regarding a package theft based on doorbell camera footage. The complainant, Mr. Aaron Branch's girlfriend's mother, alleged that a neighbor had taken a package from her porch. Upon arriving at the scene, Deputy James and Deputy Zhang engage with the witnesses, specifically Ms. Vernita Eccles, who identified the neighbor across the street as a suspect. She further mentioned that the neighbor might have a bench warrant for her arrest. Within minutes, the officers made their way across the street to confront the neighbor, seemingly without validating the claims made by the callers. Surprisingly, Deputy James immediately announced his intention to arrest the neighbor without properly investigating the situation. It was during this engagement that Mr. Branch, the original recorder of the incident, arrived on the scene while openly carrying a firearm on his hip. He questioned the officers about the package's ownership, leading to Deputy James ordering him to disarm for officer safety. However, Tennessee law permits citizens to bear arms for self-defense, and there's no requirement to disarm themselves around officers unless there's a legitimate safety concern.
Yeah. Okay, now that box that came off the front porch, did y'all see a name on that box by any chance?
We didn't get a chance to look at it because it was stolen before we got a chance to.
Now, if we show you guys what the box looked like, how you doing, sir? Are you an officer, sir?
Put your hands up, man.
I don't need to put my hands up.
This is for officer safety.
I don't need to put my hands up.
Put your hands up, dude.
The situation escalated as Deputy James unholstered his firearm, which Mr. Branch rightly challenged. This action was unnecessary and potentially dangerous escalation, as Mr. Branch was not displaying any behavior that indicated he posed a threat to the officers. Deputy James cited a state statute to justify his actions, but his interpretation was flawed considering the circumstances. Furthermore, the officers threatened to arrest Mr. Branch and his girlfriend for disorderly conduct, despite being on private property.
The proper procedures, you're supposed to ask if he has his handgun permit.
You don't know. Okay.
Yes, I do.
Hey,
yes, I do. We went to the class. Yes, I do.
I don't need to keep my hands up. I committed a crime.
Yes, put your gun away.
I have
You
not
ask
for
officer
to see
safety.
his- you ask to see his permit.
Ma'am.
Okay, can he just step in the house then?
No,
I need
you
that
ask
car.
to see- no.
We're not talking to you,
I'm
man.
in
No,
my
sir.
car right now.
You
We're
ask
not
to see
talking
his
to you right
permit.
now.
You ask to see-
We're not talking to you
we're
right
going in the
now.
house then.
I don't need to go in there. I haven't committed a crime.
You have a
I
permit.
haven't committed. I do have a
We're
crime.
not saying.
Where's your permit?
Amber, record Officer James. We're gonna make a start today. I'm gonna make a start at
Come
James
on.
today.
There's
I'm gonna make
no
you a
threat.
start, James. I'm gonna make
Let me
you
see
a
your
start
permit.
today.
Step
Okay,
away, man. We're
you're
not
right.
talking to you.
Okay.
Let me see your
Okay.
permit.
Okay.
Keep this arm up. Let me see your permit.
I don't need to keep anything. I can do whatever the
This officer, no, sir.
Do whatever.
Calm down.
Do what you do. Do your
Police
job.
officers
Do your
are-
job.
He
Hold
got
on,
the
hold on, hold on.
permit.
Police officers are in your presence.
The First Amendment protects speech on private property, and the officer's threats infringed upon this right. Legal precedents underline the special protection for personal liberties within one's home. The officer's subsequent behavior with an unidentified woman, initially detained due to the reported theft, raises Fourth Amendment concerns. While reasonable suspicion justified her initial detention, the officers extended her handcuffed detention in a police cruiser even after she provided evidence that could have dispelled their suspicions. Courts have ruled that such extended detentions could transform investigative stops into arrest, violating the Fourth Amendment.
There it is.
That's not,
Okay.
that's not
You go
how
to law
law
school?
works.
You go
I did go to law school.
Okay, you passed the bar?
I did
So
pass
you're
the
a
bar.
lawyer.
I am a lawyer.
Okay.
I don't have to
Just
disarm
go in the
myself.
house.
That's not how the
Just
law
go in the
works.
house.
Come here.
I'm not
Come here.
going anywhere with
Come
you.
here.
Just go
I
in
have
the
not
house.
committed a crime. They know I haven't committed a crime.
Okay,
They know I have not
Amber.
committed a
We're trying
crime.
to
Amber, I want you to record them. I'm gonna make stars out of both of them.
ahead.
James and Zing. I'm gonna make big stars out of them. I love tyrants. I love tyrants like yourself.
Either
Property.
you step inside or you go to
I'm
jail.
a private. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
5, 4,
I'm not your child.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Child.
Aaron,
All right,
go,
man,
go,
I'm not a
go.
child.
No, because
Bro,
you
you're not scaring nobody with that fucking permit.
question or whatever.
You're not talking about.
Despite these issues, Mr. Branch managed to de-escalate the situation through assertive dialogue. He challenged the officers' actions while maintaining composure and asserting his rights. Eventually, the officers released the detained woman, but not without her being held for an excessive duration. Now, let's move on to the next investigation. In an incident that occurred on July 3, 2021, officers from the Elkhart Police Department were called to respond to a disturbance at a hotel in Elkhart, Indiana. The officers stopped 3 teenagers whom they believed to be responsible for the disturbance and demanded that they identify themselves. As tensions began to rise, one of the bystanders at the scene started recording the encounter.
who I am.
It doesn't matter. Talking about us,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He doesn't want you guys back here. And to verify that, I need your names so that if you do show up again, you can then go to jail. Okay?
So
what is your name? Before I put you all in handcuffs and take you all to jail. Okay. Then you're gonna.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't going to jail, man.
What is your name?
Y'all ain't got no ride, man.
We do. We waiting.
Despite the potential escalation, the officers did not conduct a thorough investigation into the situation. According to best practices for police interactions, responding officers are expected to perform comprehensive preliminary investigations, including interviewing witnesses to accurately determine suspects. However, the officers in this case seemed uninterested in investigating further and instead continued to insist that the teenagers provide their identification.
Because we can't verify that you are the parent or guardian? We can't. So again, I'm going to ask again before you all go in. Does that make sense? What is your name? We can't just release it.
Let me talk to them. Let's talk to them.
But if they weren't part of the confusion, then I don't understand what's going on.
I told you multiple times.
The boys and bystanders maintained that they were not involved in the initial disturbance, but the officers did not seem willing to consider this possibility. The officers' conduct raised questions about their failure to follow proper investigation procedures, even though there is no legal obligation for police officers to conduct in-depth investigations.
You're not in trouble, man. But if you keep playing this game with us,
I want him to come out here before I say anything else.
They gone. They went out the back door.
whatever you
Huh?
need.
They went out the back door.
No, I'm talking about the manager that said that we was because he know it's not us.
No, it wasn't them.
Exactly. That's why I want him to come out here. Before I let
He doesn't want to come out here right now. Okay,
Man,
he has a job
alright,
to
we
do,
go
which
in
is
there.
inside. No, because he doesn't want you inside. He doesn't want you on the
he
property.
don't know it's us. He think it's some other.
The bystander recording the incident questioned the officer's authority to detain the teenagers based on Indiana's trespassing laws. He argued that since the teenagers had not refused to leave the property when asked, they could not be considered trespassing. The officer countered by citing Indiana trespassing law, which allows charges to be brought against individuals who knowingly or intentionally refuse to leave private property after being asked to do so by the property owner or their agent. However, legal precedent indicated that a police officer who is neither the property owner nor an agent of the owner cannot create a trespass violation merely by asking someone to leave and then arresting them for noncompliance. In this instance, the officers were acting in their capacity as police officers and not as agents of the property owner, so their detention of the teenagers on suspicion of trespassing seemed unjustified.
These are not them. So would you like to show
Please
them
come
trespass
on.
on the property? Or do you?
We didn't have nothing to do with that. Yes. No, they had nothing to do with it. All right, man, get my.
Stand up.
The other dude talking about the gun.
It was taller boys who are probably already all gone because they knew that you were coming and they don't want to.
That's what
Deal
I
with
said.
police.
Until he come out here.
Fair
enough, but when I walked in, he pointed to you
Yeah,
gentlemen.
man, that's
Right
all
now,
I
you
wanted to
got
come
my-
out.
you
You
got
got
my name for nothing. You got my
name
for nothing. You didn't want to come out.
It wasn't that hard for him to come out here and clear it up. He trying to put me in here to take me to
Sure,
jail.
because you're not cooperating.
You're not doing his
It's
job
easier
right.
for me to control the
Not doing his
situation.
job right.
I am doing my job right.
See, y'all don't know
What's your name, badge number?
He was talking about. They was in there talking about gunplay. This dude, man. That's
Sure,
what I said.
and
Y'all
when I
didn't have
got
nothing
here,
to do with
listen,
it.
when I got here,
Yeah.
he pointed to these gentlemen.
We told you it was
Okay.
The description that he gave me.
I can't take your word for it when he pointed to you.
Furthermore, Indiana law does not have a stop and identify statute that mandates individuals to provide identification during criminal investigations. The statute requires individuals to provide identification to law enforcement officers, and that only applies when someone is stopped for an infraction or ordinance violation. This means that the officer's demand for identification lacked a legal basis.
He did. He pointed
He
to
was
you.
already in there,
He
bro.
pointed to
I
you.
don't want to hear
Okay.
your conversation.
That's
You
why
already in
Name
the
and badge
hole,
number,
bro.
please.
You trying to dig yourself out of the hole.
Isn't Elkhart policy for you to identify yourself to the
My
public?
guess is they probably already left.
Okay.
Because they all probably have their licenses.
That's fine.
And they drove off because they didn't want to deal with you guys.
The situation escalated further when one officer claimed that the hotel manager had misidentified the teenagers as the perpetrators of the disturbance. Despite the assertion from the bystanders that the detained teenagers were not involved, the officers seemed unwilling to reconsider their actions. The bystanders and teens remained composed, and with the intervention of the bystanders, the officers were eventually compelled to release the teenagers. Now let's take a look at another investigation. In a notable incident on June 12, 2020, a confrontation between an Amazon delivery driver named Deja Murphy and property owner Keith Miller in Lowell, Indiana, has brought to light the complexities of enforcing laws on private property. The incident, originally reported by the Times of Northwest Indiana and discussed on Lackluster's channel, involves issues related to traffic laws, private property rights, criminal confinement, and police authority. The situation unfolded when Miller, convinced that Murphy was speeding on his property, employed his truck to block her exit.
Good luck, buddy.
No. Bottom line is, I need your ID.
Sure.
You're going to pull your truck in your driveway.
Yep.
I'm going to get her information. I'm going to do a report, and we're going to go about our day.
I'm going to get my wallet from my office.
Huh?
No,
you're not. You're going to just give me your name and information.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to...
You want me to write it down for you?
Yeah. I don't need... I'm not spending all day with this. This is ridiculous.
I asked, and we have since put cameras up. I just said,
what's your last name?
Down. Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R.
He proceeded to demand her identification, thereby initiating a tense standoff. Responding to Murphy's call, Officer John from the Lake County Sheriff's Department arrived at the scene. He clarified that he lacked jurisdiction to enforce speeding laws on private property, igniting a discourse on the distinction between public roads and private driveways. Indiana's legal framework underscores the limited jurisdiction of traffic laws on private property. State law specifies that highway regulations pertain to publicly maintained roads accessible for vehicular travel. In contrast, a private driveway, such as Miller's property, doesn't fall within this category. Therefore, Murphy's alleged speeding on the driveway couldn't be penalized as a traffic violation under Indiana law. However, exceptions do exist. In certain cases, police can enforce traffic rules on private property where the public's invited. This enforcement relies on local ordinances and agreements between property owners and law enforcement authorities. These provisions empower the police to regulate traffic and parking on private property under specific circumstances.
Thank you. So, go forward.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
I need your license.
Okay. And may I ask why did you
Because you called the police, he called the police,
Just making
and
sure. That's
I'm
all I wanna
called
know.
here. That's why I need your information. That's all the information I need. And he's upset because you were speeding.
But
I
y'all
told him
wasn't.
he couldn't do what he's doing.
And
You're going to go on your way, and if you have any issues, you and your company can stop delivering here.
Okay.
How's that?
He came to my door. That's what bothered me. He came in my door, opened the door, told me to get the hell out my door.
While these local ordinances may not encompass the full scope of state traffic laws, they still grant authorities the capacity to uphold specific regulations. Miller's actions also raise questions about potential criminal charges. Officer Marshall suggested that his conduct might align with the crime of criminal confinement, defined as knowingly or intentionally restricting another person's liberty without consent.
That's harassment.
You know what? Let's stop.
Okay.
We're going to do a report. We're going to go about our day.
It's harassment, though.
Everything's everything. You know what?
That's harassment.
There'll be a report on file.
While Murphy's situation didn't precisely match this definition, it highlighted the broader issue of maintaining public safety and individual rights on private property.
To the prosecutor's office?
This is Lake County?
Yeah.
Yes. We'll give you a case number.
Yeah, I want the case number, too.
It'll be on the report, sir.
What's your name?
It'll be on the report. It's Marshall.
Marshall? Okay.
And tell your friend on the phone,
That's
I'm
my
not
friend.
upset
That's
with you.
That's my brother.
Oh,
That's my brother.
you know what?
You know what? Everything's going on. That's the only reason why.
Everyone's fine. We're here. I don't need your brother telling me my job and what we need to do. I think you need to get a hold of your supervisor and tell him
Oh
what...
no, we already talked.
Okay.
She was on the phone when all of this
Get hold of your
happened.
supervisor. What's the phone number you can reach that?
219-779.
The incident also touched on the concept of harassment. However, Indiana law defines harassment as involving communication with an intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another person without legitimate communication. Because this definition doesn't cover in-person interactions, Miller's actions toward Murphy, while unsettling, might not fall within the legal definition of harassment. Fundamentally, the incident underscores the scope of police authority concerning private property and the need to strike a balance between individual rights and public welfare. Indiana's police power enables the state to enact reasonable restrictions on private property to ensure community safety, health, and morality. While the jurisdiction of traffic laws on private driveways remains limited, criminal violations, regardless of the location, can still lead to police intervention.
It's quite unsafe for a woman to live in this world. The crimes against them are increasing day by day. They depend on and truly believe the cops to save their lives. But what if the same cops become the predator? Do you think there are perverts in the police department? Are they more dangerous than the criminals? On number 3, we have Braulio Gonzalez.
On the wrong side of the law, accused of a despicable crime.
This veteran officer allegedly fondled a little girl, and that child is no stranger to him.
Braulio was a resident of Miami, Dade, and was a veteran police lieutenant. The heinous act took place in 2018 when he kidnapped and molested a child. The survivor was a child who was related to him. He took advantage of their family relations and molested the girl since she turned 8 years old. He continuously abused her for 2 years. At last, the survivor spoke out, and the real fact of Braulio was revealed. When the survivor was just 8 years old, Gonzalez took his gun and pointed it at her. She was then made to comply with his conditions, and then he kept on molesting her till her parents came back home. He threatened her several times after that to make sure she doesn't utter a word to her parents. The poor child was traumatized and she lived in fear till 2018. When the case was taken to court, it was revealed that Braulio used to take the girl to his home as well and made her strip down all her clothes before him. He then touched her private parts forcefully. Her screams were silenced by that television's volume, and she was mentally broken by this heinous act of this pervert officer. As the case continued in the court, another child came forward, speaking out about what Braulio did to her as well. She survived the perverted act of this veteran officer. He used to creep her out by watching her shower. She was only 9 years old at that time. Braulio showed aggression towards women in general. He attacked 3 of his ex-girlfriends. They all suffered severe physical injury. He used to hit them repeatedly and broke the nose of one of his ex-girlfriends. They all came forward after hearing about the case where he molested a minor. They were all happy that finally the world got to see the real face of Braulio. The acts of Braulio did not suit that of a police officer. He has to treat people with respect and make sure that they are living life safely. But instead, his predator behavior was shown to the minors. He targeted them and molested them for years. He held a 9-year-old girl at gunpoint and molested her brutally. When the decision of the court was declared, everyone was beyond shocked. They never expected Braulio to walk free. Well, he was not fully free, but the court ordered a house arrest that 2 paid leave from his job. The court turned a blind eye to his wrongdoing. He was overjoyed as he thought that he escaped the prison, but fate had another plan. After a long legal battle, Braulio got the punishment he deserved. He was sentenced to jail. He would serve life in prison. Braulio never expected to receive such a punishment. He thought that he could evade the law of the country and take advantage of many other children. None of his plans worked, and you can see the aggression and disappointment on his face. The prosecution lawyer Natalie Cinder called Braulio a dangerous person, and the world agrees with her. He could hurt a lot of girls if he roamed around freely with the power of a police officer. Braulio never apologized to the survivors. He had no remorse, and he stood there in court being proud of his deeds. He was given several opportunities to apologize, but he refused every single one of them. He didn't want to show that he regrets it. On number 2, we have the Timothy Sadler Jr. Polk County Police Department received a call from a mother of a 9-year-old to file a complaint regarding the inappropriate photos she found in her daughter's phone. The mother was beyond shocked when she found nude photos of a man in her 9-year-old child's phone. She wanted to file a complaint as soon as possible and find out the sender. The Polk County Department didn't have to spend time investigating, as they soon realized that the criminal they were looking for was one of them, but an officer of another department. They couldn't believe that such a person was working for the state to ensure safety. Well, he was not in his right mind and forced a 9-year-old to send her nude photos. What kind of police officer would say such a thing? Sadler met the child on an interactive online game platform. The Wolf was the game they played, and Sankey talked to her in the name of Jade, an 11-year-old kid. The poor child didn't realize the trap she was setting foot on. Sadler planned to get nude photos from her and threaten her to meet with him for a sexual encounter. He made a detailed plan step by step, and he just needed to work it out. He created multiple accounts and names to talk with the child and earn her trust. Apart from Jade, Sadler created a profile pretending to be a 31-year-old Jason. He talked to the child, introducing him as a close friend of Jade's father. The child believed him, as Jay confirmed that it was her dad's close friend. The child didn't know that behind the screen, it was Sadler who talked to her and not Jade or Jason. Both these people were creations of Sadler, and they didn't exist in real life. Sadler slowly started grooming the girl. He talked through the account of Jade and told the girl that she has a sexual relationship with Jason and it's fun. The girl was uncomfortable at first, but believed the 11-year-old Jade. He started sending pornographic images to the girl from the account of Jason and started talking to get in a sexually explicit way. He thought that she would soon fall into the trap and meet up with him. The 9-year-old survivor started sending her nude photos, and Sadler was happy to see her falling prey to him. He stored all the images to use against her in the future. During this time, he was going to his office and acting as a good police officer. No one suspected him, and everyone believed him to be this ideal man. They were all unaware of what he does behind his bedroom walls. The 9-year-old child's older sister found out about the sexually explicit texts and pornographic images Sadler sent her. She informed her mother. She called the police immediately. Sadler was arrested and fired from his job immediately. On number 1, we have Trevor Smith. Trevor Smith was working in the Washington State Patrol. He fell for the sting operation and was caught red-handed. In 2022, Trevor was looking for new prey. That's when he met a mother of 2 who was ready to go into an agreement with Trevor for him to have sex with her 2 children, who were only 6 and 11 years old. Trevor was so happy, as he thought he would get 2 children to sleep with that too, with their mother's consent. The undercover female officer, who pretended to be the woman selling her kids, realized that Trevor was a pedophile. The Seattle Police Department wanted to catch pedophiles, and they made the undercover police officer place an ad. Trevor was interested in it and contacted the mother without knowing that it was a sting operation. During the conversation, the undercover police officer asked what he would give her in exchange for abusing her 2 children, to which Trevor replied that she could sexually abuse his 9-month-old son. The police department was shocked to read the text, as they can imagine all Trevor would have exchanged for his son. He was unfit to be a father and shows no mercy to his child. Trevor showed up in a hotel room, and the undercover police arranged for him, as he thought he would sexually abuse 2 children. He even came to the room with contraceptives, which shows that he was prepared to sexually attack 6 and 11-year-old children. Trevor was fired from his job and was sentenced to 10 years in prison, after which he would be released, but he will be under the supervision of the police for 15 years. Do you think this kind of police officer should be declared unfit for service? Should they be punished brutally? Let us know in the comments.